Do you want real customer advocates? Customers that go out of their way to tell their story of interacting with you? Then this video series is for you. Hey everybody, this is Ray Stendall, the author of the Customer Engagement Manifesto and the publisher of Customer Engagement Magazine. And this video series is an important series that my team and I have put together for you, especially if you're a business owner or a manager in an organization and are looking for the edge, an edge that can help you boost the productivity and the success of your business, leveraging some of the proven work by Deming, who revolutionized what quality really means and how it can be achieved inside of a business to ensure customer satisfaction. So this video series is jam-packed. We have 14 principles of management to go through according to Mr. Deming. And what we're going to do is not just rehash the past and talk about the 14 principles in isolation. What we're going to do is we're going to bridge into the future and talk about how this wonderful material is a great foundation to extend it into the customer engagement economy, and talk about how these ideas go hand in hand with the quality movement that Deming is famous for. So first of all, the quality of a product or service is something that impresses positively a customer to make a purchasing decision. And the extent to which they're willing to make a purchasing decision and be happy with the result of what they purchased is what quality is. And customers are kings and queens of quality. They decide what quality is and what it's not. As a business owner and as a manager, it's important that we understand what they define as quality and deliver a solution that is aligned with that or even better than that and surpass expectations. So therefore, through the eyes of a customer, we have to appreciate the fact that quality can be subjective, depending on the budget the customer has, as well as the length of time the solution is expected to be operational. Sometimes you purchase something and expect it to last for a very long time. Sometimes you purchase something just to get a job done and to solve a problem in a pinch. So understanding what the customer defines as quality is key. And being able to deliver accordingly is, of course, important. Now, one of the things that we need to consider is that Deming took a look at quality from the customer perspective, and he did a great job of making sure that customer feedback was factored into the development process for a solution. And in his book, Out of the Crisis, he talked about, and I would like to quote from the book, a key aspect of what he thought of as it relates to customers. He said, and I quote, "Profit in business comes from repeat customers, customers that boast about your product and service, and that bring friends with them. Fully allocated costs may well show that the profit in a transaction with a customer that comes back voluntarily may be 10 times the profit realized from a customer that responds to advertising and other persuasion." So we have to remember that to be successful in business, we need to take this idea of delivering a quality solution in the marketplace and look at the corollary, which is the quality of the customer experience. And together, we have a system that is built to last. So quality is the sum total of all of the attributes and characteristics of a product or a service or a solution that satisfies the written as well as the implied expectations of a buying customer. That's how I like to define what quality is. Now, when we look at customer engagement, it needs to be memorable, everybody. Your customer engagement needs to be memorable and well architected. You have to think about how do you add value at each step of the process as you interact with a customer. So from a marketing standpoint, you need to be thinking about how do you educate your customer to make an informed buying decision. From a sales standpoint, you need to be thinking about how do I advance my relationship to sufficiently understand the customer's needs so that I can do my best to map what I have available to me in terms of direct solutions or recommendations in the marketplace that can solve my customer's problem so that we can accomplish that and build a relationship that puts you as the trusted advisor in the relationship with the customer. And from a support standpoint, it needs to be easy. It needs to be fast. It needs to be informative. And the most important part is making sure that the value transfers from you to the customer. Now, I know you might hear that and go, duh, that's obvious. But seriously, think about that. If your customer doesn't consume and enjoy the value you provided, the equation will be tilted against you. They will have spent their hard-earned money, didn't get a result that they expected, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to go and tell their friends, their family, their coworkers. They're going to spread the message far and wide that you are not the business to work with. That is, if you really get them upset. That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario is they don't say anything and they don't come back to you, which is still terrible. So in this video series, what I want to do with you now is I want to expand some of the ideas we've talked about in the Customer Engagement Manifesto and the Turnaround Report. I talked at length about how the market is changing. The economy is changing. The customer engagement economy is here now. It has certain attributes, and just like the rest of objective reality, it has to be respected, otherwise we'll pay the consequences for not respecting it. So what exactly is driving the customer engagement economy? So just a brief recap. Real-time, worldwide communications is forcing brands, probably more than they really want it, to be authentic and transparent in the process of delivering value. So you really have a choice. You can fight the currents, or you can embrace the currents and be authentic and transparent and encourage your marketplace to share the good message of how you deliver value in the marketplace. Number two, it's the abundance of choice. We live in a world right now with lots of choice, and you have to realize that with the customer having so much choice and so many comparable solutions on the marketplace, you have to make sure that your total customer experience is memorable. And number three, shrinking discretionary income. I know nobody likes to hear it, and I hate to have to tell it to you, but the truth of the matter is, when you take a look at the US economy, the Canadian economy, and extend it even to many Western nations, and I would even extend it to many countries in the globe, discretionary income is on a decline because taxation is on an incline and inflation most certainly is on an incline, especially when we don't factor in such things as food and fuel, which is unpopular to factor into inflation characteristics. What does that mean to you? What it means to you is that there's less money in your customer's pocket. There's more pressure to do more with less. And because there's more pressure to do more with less discretionary income to be able to allocate it to solutions that you might provide, the marketplace gets more and more competitive. So that's why what we're talking about here today isn't just about helping you get a marginal increase in your business. It's about getting a major increase in your business and thriving. And for some of you that have a longer way to go, it's about surviving and making sure that this shift that's happening in the economy doesn't fall over you like a big tidal wave. And I'm not saying this to scare you. Take a look at the data. Take a look at the manifesto. Everything is documented, and I encourage you to take a look. Deming, in his work, talks a lot about quality and how to build quality solutions based on factoring customer requirements. And now what I want to drive you towards is the quality of the customer experience. These are two corollary terms. If you have a great solution, but don't know how to effectively engage with your marketplace to market it, sell it, and support it so that the value is transferred from you to your customer, what's going to happen? You're going to fall flat on your face. Now, what happens if you know how to market, sell, and support, but you don't have the goods to stand up and be proud of what you have? You don't have a quality solution. Well, you may get away with it for a certain amount of time, but then what's going to happen? The marketplace is going to wisen up, and you're going to pay the consequences. So these two terms, they go together. So the intent of this video series is to leverage the great work from Deming on his 14 principles of management, plus the deadly sins and diseases that he talks about in his book, Out of the Crisis, and translate that into What is it that we need to do from a customer engagement standpoint? How does it map together? How do the two fit together? So first, a little bit of background about Mr. Deming. And then you'll see why this is so relevant. So he was born in 1900 in Iowa, United States. And as a young boy, he had a rather difficult upbringing. He had to take a lot of odd jobs, and he didn't have a lot of money in his family. So he lived a very frugal environment. He lived in a very frugal environment, difficult conditions, and he was raised with a very important belief, as many people were in times of difficult economic environments. And that is, do not waste anything. You'll soon see why this is so important. Because later on, he went on to get his electrical engineering degree in 1921, 1925, his degree in mathematics and physics. And in 1930, he went to the Census Bureau, and he continued to apply his mathematics specifically in the realms of statistics and so forth. So he came to the business landscape with an internal belief of not wasting anything, built on top of electrical engineering, mathematics and statistics and physics, to take a look at how can organizations revolutionize the way quality is done within an organization by shifting the culture and ultimately shifting the output inside of a company. So as time progressed, he wasn't really paid a lot of respect in the United States. People weren't really listening to him. And so in 1947, he went to work for General MacArthur, the Supreme Command of the Allied Forces in 1947. He then went on to help the Japanese industry in 65 and in times after that revolutionize the way in which they built solutions. And ultimately, the folks in the United States said, if Japan can do it, why can't we do it? So he came back to the United States and really helped a lot of organizations in the manufacturing realm, especially, move forward in implementing great quality. So now, what's the call to action for you? Remember, every video, every piece of education you look at has a job to do. So what I want you to do in this video is set the stage, let you know what's coming up. We have 14 management principles to go through. Each one is vitally important to you. We're also going to talk about the deadly diseases that affect primarily Western management and Western companies. So what I want you to do to get maximum value out of this video is, number one, identify a space and a place where you can take some time to study this material. And number two, get a pen and paper out so that you can take some notes. Not so much in necessarily a lot of the theory that I share with you, but more about the practical application of these ideas that I help you along as you walk through these videos in your own businesses. And you're going to want to record action items for yourself. So that's the key thing I want you to do right now. Pause this video, go get some pen and paper, find a quiet place, close the door, turn off the television, turn off Twitter, your cell phone, and all the other things in life which are going to distract you, and make some time for yourself to strategically focus on your business. This is Ray Stendall, and in the next video, we're going to talk about the first principle that Deming thought was most important and he wanted to start his book with. So stay tuned and let's jump into the next video.